Let us start our class today. I hope that you will join very soon. Now, today we will go through the comparison of refrigerant liquid absorbent. Say, refrigerant here is NH3, ammonia, and absorbent is water, and refrigerant solid absorbent combination. NH3, water, and calcium carbonate is the absorbent, or calcium chloride, it means salt. Not exactly bicarbonate. Ammonia and water and ammonia and salt. Yeah. Plus water, ammonia, plus salt. Now, the solid absorbent system has supposed to have the two advantages. The amount of refrigerant cycled in relation to the amount of absorbent is larger, because for solid absorbent, for
Good morning, sir.
good morning everybody, for the solid absorbent that for the liquid absorbent, which means more amount of refrigerant can be consumed by solid absorbent than liquid absorbent. As you know, this vapor absorption refrigerant system totally different. It depends on how much your refrigerant or your ammonia is being absorbed in the absorbent. And it is better, and better means more amount of refrigerant, flow of refrigerant will take place, and more amount of refrigeration will take place. So generally what has happened that for solid absorbent consumes better and more ammonia than liquid absorbent. So the thermal capacity of the solid contributes a trips, because thermal, mostly because the temperature of the water absorbent is an important factor. You have to keep as low as possible to have maximum absorption, because if you have higher temperature rises during absorption, and you have to keep it controlled. Otherwise, it cannot absorb more refrigerant in course of time. But in solid absorbent, we don't have this problem. Hence, the heat required in the generator is less as that of the water in the aqua ammonia system. Now, one of the part is what I have told you, absorbent. What are the different components required for the vapor absorption refrigerant system? Is first of all the absorber. Next is the generator. The absorber absorbs the ammonia, and generator just rectified this by means of the heating. It releases all the absorbed ammonia and sent to the evaporator for cooling. So here salt doesn't decrease thermal capacity, and because without that you have to consume much amount of heat absorbent or ammonia, and here it will readily release them without without maximum requirement of heat to heat it up for aqua ammonia system. The solid absorbent thus is extremely robust, not in mechanical sense, but also with respect to adverse operating condition, changes in the performance is remarkably insensitive to changes in both. Just 1 second. In both condensing and evaporating temperature. So, hence, however, the solid absorbent cycle has one major drawback. The heat of rejection is large compared to that found for liquid absorbent, approximately twice the latent of vaporization. However, COP for supple adjustment cycle is still higher than that of the liquid absorbent cycle, particularly when the difference between the condensing temperature and the evaporated temperature is high. The solid absorbent combination is ideally suited for intermediate operation on solar energy. Now, what is the solid absorbent plastic? It is robust, compact, not in the mechanical sense, but with respect to the adverse operating condition. It is very much compact in the operating condition, is not very adverse, but it is effectively sensitive to both changes in condensing temperature and evaporating temperature. It is not dependent on the condensing temperature which we have fixed and evaporating temperature which is also fixed. But there has one very advantage: the heat rejection, heat of reaction is very large compared to the liquid absorption. At the time of absorbing, the refrigerant like ammonia with absorbent like water and as well as the calcium chloride, there is a certain amount of reaction takes place, and every reaction releases a certain amount of heat. But the reaction with ammonia and water is comparatively negligible, but still that some temperature will rise there. And so you have to make a separate cooling arrangement for cooling this water absorbent so that the absorbing capacity increases. But here what happens? Here the heat of reaction between ammonia and the calcium chloride is much higher compared to the found for liquid refrigerant. So approximately twice the latent heat of vaporization. Thus, you have to make certain process of cooling that even in order to make this problem, because if we release too much of the heat, then it will be vaporized. It will affect the consumption to a certain extent, because it will always have the tendency to vaporize. Why it should be absorbed by the calcium chloride? So you have to make another possible arrangement to keep this calcium chloride solution, ammonia solution cool. But however, the COP of this system is still much higher that of the liquid absorbent cycle, because it is insensitive to the higher temperature selected and lower temperature selected. So as per your selection, you can have this COP. And especially the difference between condensing and high temperature is considerably high. That is better suitable. It is also intermittently suitable for intermediate operation or side-by-side, time-to-time operation on solar energy. The absorbance of vapor absorption refrigeration system over the compression refrigeration system. Let us go through that difference. What is the advantage of vapor absorption over compression system? In the vapor system, you know, the only moving part of the entire system is a pump, which has a small motor. So the operation of the system is essentially quiet and subject to very little wear. But vapor compression system, the same capacity has more wear, more tear, noise due to moving part of the compression. So here, only one for vapor compression absorption refrigeration system, only one moving part, that's pump, whose capacity is not that high required, and well, it has a small motor to run it only to maintain the flow. It is required only to maintain the flow of refrigerant and nothing else. But vapor compression system, it is much more wear, much more sound, because compressor is doing not only the flow but also compressing the refrigerant. So vapor compression system involves much more wear, tear, and noise in comparison to the vapor absorption system. Next comes the vapor absorption system uses high energy to change the condition refrigerant from a evaporator. The vapor compression system uses mechanical energy to change the refrigerant from the evaporator. It uses vapor high energy to change the condition of refrigerant. But compression system only uses mechanical energy to change the condition of the refrigerant from the evaporator. So in vapor absorption system, the difference is we have to supply heat to the system in order to dry up and evaporate you have to separate this absorbent refrigerant from his absorber. But compression system, we use only mechanical energy by, say, running a motor to run the compressor, and compressor is doing only the mechanical work, applying mechanical energy to the refrigerant, and that is to change the condition of the refrigerant. First of all, we change for vapor absorption, we have to use heat energy directly, as well for vapor compression, we have to use mechanical energy to change the condition or state of the refrigerant from the evaporator. Now, the vapor absorbers are generally designed to use steam, either at high pressure or low pressure. But the exhaust steam from furnaces and solar energy can be used. Thus, the system can be used to where electrical power is difficult to obtain and is very expensive. So here we are using steam. You have to have the ability to produce steam, have some method of producing steam by means of, say, from the heat from the furnace or from the solar energy this way. And where there is no electrical power is available, so vapor absorption is possible. But without any electrical power, it is impossible to run vapor compression, because no way, without any electricity, no way you can run the compression. But by using the heat energy of the furnace, or using the heat energy of the boiler, etc., and somehow also solar energy, even you can run the vapor absorption system. The vapor system can operate at reduced evaporator pressure and temperature by increasing the steam pressure to the generator, with little decrease in capacity. But capacity of vapor compression drops sharply with lower evaporator. Now, the vapor absorption system can operate at reduced operation pressure and temperature by increasing the system pressure to the generator. The load variation do not affect the performance of a vapor absorption system. The load variation made by controlling the quality of aqua circulated and the quantity of steam supplied to the generator. If you sometimes say your refrigerant load is reduced, you can safely control by the quantity of aqua, means quantity of water you are supplying, and the quantity of steam you are supplying to the generator itself to convert dust absorbent from the refrigerant from the water. The capacity of both vapor compression system rapidly drops but the performance of a vapor compression system at partial load is very poor. If you are under a stated load, the performance of vapor compression is quite okay, but if the load is reduced, your performance COP is not that good. In the vapor compression system, the liquid refrigerant leaving the evaporator has no bad effect on the system, except that of reducing the refrigerating effect. In the vapor compression, it is essential to superheat the vapor refrigerant leaving the evaporator so that no liquid may enter in the compression. The liquid refrigerant for vapor absorption, which is leaving the evaporator, has no bad effect, except the reducing the refrigerating effect to a certain extent. But for compression system, it's essential to superheat the vapor refrigerant have been leaving the evaporator, so no liquid form is entered into the evaporator compression. So anyway, refrigerant at the outlet of the refrigerator should be superheated so that all sort of liquid vaporize, or it should not know where any liquid will go to the compressor, because it adversely affects its performance. But it is not essential for vapor absorption system because you are leaving the ammonia, you are injecting ammonia from the evaporator, and that is you are absorbing the ammonia in the liquid. So that already you are using, and there is no compression. There is no compression if you use the latter up to the even the condenser. It's not a difficult, but you should not use any liquid water. Should not ensure so no liquid water should go to the expander itself, because it will expand and form ice inside the wall of the expander. But in case of vapor compression refrigerator, you must have all sort of liquid free from the refrigerator. Otherwise, it will go and clog in the compressor itself. The vapor system can build in capacity is well above 1,000 tons of refrigeration, which is largest size for single compressor unit. Absorption unit can be high, but more space requirement and automatic control requirement favor the absorption system more and more as the desired evaporator plant. Space required, the amount of area required, the automatic control requirement favor the absorption system more as the desired evaporator temperature drops. Now let us find out the COP or coefficient of performance of the ideal vapor absorption refrigeration system. Now, we know that in an ideal vapor refrigeration system, the heat is given, heat QG is given to the refrigerant in the generator, heat QC is discharged to the atmosphere cooling water from the condenser and absorber, and heat QE is absorbed by the refrigerant in the evaporator. So there are three heats: QG given to the refrigerant in the generator, QC released from the evaporator, QE absorbed by the refrigerant in the evaporator. And the heat QP is added to the refrigerant due to pump work. The amount of heat which is added to the refrigerant due to pump work is generally negligible here. So we are neglecting the heat given to the pump work or energy given to the pump work. We have to the first of thermodynamics. Heat applied is to be given by heat removed. So QC will be QG plus E, where QC is the heat released from the condenser, QG heat applied to the generator plus QE heat absorbed during the evaporator. Absorbed. It is also absorbed here and released. So released heat, released is equal to heat absorbed by generator in generator, heat absorbed during evaporator. So let Tg, the temperature at which the heat is given to the generator. Tc, temperature at which heat is discharged to the atmosphere or cooling water from the condenser to the absorber, and Te, temperature at which the heat QV is absorbed with the evaporator. Since the vapor absorption system can be considered as a perfectly reversible system, so the initial entropy of the system must be equal to the entropy of the system after the change in condition. So what will be the, for a reversible system, what the heat is being applied to the system can be exactly brought back when rather when removed. Now, and because the system will go back to the original system without any change to the surroundings. So the initial entropy of the system must be equal to the entropy of the system after the condition change in this condition. So the heat content or heat energy kept in the system is remains same before and after the change in condition. So heat generated divided by T divided by heat Tg, and the quality of heat generated during this generator divided by the temperature of the generator plus quality of the heat evaporated, quality of the heat uh, absorbed during evaporated during the temperature of the evaporator is better the quality of heat rejected to the surrounding during condenser divided by the temperature of the condenser. So QC, we have already written that QC is equal to QG plus QV divided by TC from the equation 1, that's already calculated here. QC is equal to QG plus QV. So QG by TG minus QG divided by TC is equal to QV minus QV by TC minus QV by TG. Plus QG, TC minus TG into TG plus multiplied by TC into QE multiplied to the power TE minus TC divided by TC into PE. So if you make such a simplification, QG will be QE, and this portion remains as it is, and this portion numerator goes there. It convert to the denominator convert to the numerator, and denominator convert to the denominator. So it becomes like this. And QB, if we take this negative left side, then TC minus TE, and if we take this negative here also, TC minus TG minus TE, you see the negative is cancelling each other. TE into TE as it is, and TG into TC remains as it is. They cancel it next, they cancel TC, temperature of the condenser, to get TC into TE divided by TE multiplied by TG divided by TE, TG into TC. So the maximum coefficient of performance of the system is given by QV divided by QG and QV divided by QE multiplied by TC minus T divided by T, TG minus TG divided by TG minus T. Here, this QV released at the evaporator is divided by heat with applied to the generator. Then QV, it is for the evaporator is cancelled. Thus, what we have T, TC minus T multiplied by TG minus T divided by TG. It may be noted that the expression TE by TC minus T is a purity of a Carnot refrigerator working between temperature TE and TC. And expression TG minus TC is the efficiency of the Carnot refrigerator working between TG and TC. So both are the efficiency of the Carnot refrigerator with different temperature working between the temperature of the generator and temperature of the condenser. We have working between temperature of the condenser and the temperature of the evaporator itself. Thus, an ideal refrigerator system, absorbed refrigerator system, may be regarded as the combination of a Carnot engine and Carnot refrigerator to produce the ideal refrigerating effect. First of all, it was Carnot refrigerator or it was Carnot engine. Thus, the ideal refrigerator system may be regarded as the combination of Carnot engine and refrigerator to produce a different effect. First of all, TG, temperature of the heat source generator, TC, temperature of the condenser and absorber, and TE, temperature of the refrigerator that is absorber. The maximum COP can be used as written as COP of the Carnot cycle multiplied the efficiency of the Carnot cycle. But it's just conversion of the COP of the Carnot cycle and efficiency of the Carnot cycle. The heat is dissolved discharged to the following temperature in condenser absorber. Then COP max is equal to but TA, TG is the temperature at which heat is discharged in the absorber. So T, that in case the heat is discharged at different temperature in condenser and absorber, then TG minus TA divided by TG, T minus TC into T. So in that case, TG or temperature of the condenser is replaced or by temperature of the absorber. Now, in the vapor absorption refrigeration system, let us go through a few practical problems. We have here 4 or 5 problems. Let's go through one by one. In a vapor absorption system, heating and cooling takes place at temperature 100 degrees centigrade, 20 degrees centigrade, and heating, cooling, refrigerant. These are given. So it is very clear that temperature of the generator 100 degrees centigrade is plus 273, 333. Temperature of the condenser 20 degrees centigrade, 20 plus 273, and temperature of the evaporator minus 5 degrees centigrade, minus 5 273, 268 K. Put the value of evaporator, condenser, evaporator, generator, condenser, and generator, respectively, will get the maximum CFL system 2.3 A. Answer. In an absorption refrigerant system, the heat supplied to NEC generator by condensing a steam at 2 bar and 90% dry. The temperature in the system is to be maintained at minus 5 degrees centigrade. Otherwise, to find the maximum COP. So, temperature of the refrigerator should be maintained at minus 5 degrees centigrade. Should be maintained at minus 5 degrees centigrade. Refrigerant load is 20 tons capacity and actual COP is 270 tons of the maximum COP. Find the mass of the steam required per load. That's the pressure of the condenser is 2 bar. 2 bar and is 90% dry or 0.9 multiplied by the flow percent dry. Temperature of the evaporator PE given by minus 5 degrees centigrade, minus 5 plus 273, 268. Now, 20 ton actual COP is 70 of the maximum COP, and TC, temperature of the condenser, is here. 70 degrees centigrade, 30 per 273 is 303 kJ. Here, temperature of the atmosphere equal to temperature if it is not told differently. The saturation temperature of the steam at a pressure 2 bar is 220 degrees centigrade, and which means is 223.2 plus 273, that is equal to 393.2 Kelvin. We know that the maximum COP, EE is equal to TC minus TE multiplied by TG minus TC divided by TG. Temperature of the evaporator, that of condenser, that of evaporator, that of generator, that of condenser. Now, saturation temperature of the pressure P, we consider it as a TG because temperature of the generator is not known. Temperature of the generator, temperature of the condenser, temperature of the refractory, the refrigerator. This is the essential temperature, essential value of the temperature to know the COP of the system. Now the steam evaporator actual COP is 70% of the maximum COP is 0.7. No. So you have to put EE, temperature of the evaporator, TC, temperature of the condenser, temperature of the evaporator, multiplied by TG minus TC divided by TG. 268, 303 minus 268. 293.2 minus 303 divided by 293.2, 1.756. Note that actual COP, 70% of the maximum COP is equal to 1.229. The actual heat supply refrigeration load divided by actual COP, that is 20 into 210 divided by COP, this is the actual heat we are supposed to supply. 34117.2, 0.4 kilojoule per minute. Assuming that only latent heat system is used for heating purpose, therefore from steam to tables, latent heat of at 2 bar is HFG 2201.6 kilojoule per kg. Mass of the steam required per hour, actual heat supplied divided by HFG. So we put the value after heat supply is known. We have to know the amount of latent heat. So if you divide, we get the mass of the heat supplied per minute, divide multiplied by 60, 93.12 kilojoule per kg. Next problem. In an aqua ammonia refrigeration system of 10-ton capacity, the vapors leaving the generator are 100% pure NH3, saturated at 40 degrees centigrade. The evaporated absorber, condenser, generator temperature are minus 20 degrees, absorber temperature 30 degrees centigrade, condenser temperature 40, and generator temperature is 70 degrees centigrade. At absorber exit from solution, the concentration of ammonia is around taken as 0.38 and enthalpy is H022 kcal per kg. The amount a generator exists solution is equal to 0.1, X equal to 0.1, and H equal to 695 kJ per kg. Determine the mass flow rate of the ammonia, carry out the overall mass conservation and mass conservation of ammonia in absorber to determine the free flow, determine the mass flow rate of weak and strong solution, determine the heat rejection absorber and condenser, heat added to the generator and COP. QE, Q is equal to QE is equal to 10 ton, T6, TG, not T6. Temperature of the generator is given as, that is TC, 40 degrees centigrade temperature of the condenser, that is TC. Temperature of the condenser 40 degrees centigrade. Temperature of the evaporator is given as -20. Temperature of the absorber 30. Temperature of the again the condenser EG is 70 degrees centigrade. X2 and X3 is equal to 0.38. H2 and H3 is equal to 22. And X4, X5 is equal to H. Thus H4 is equal to H5, 695 kJ per kg. The aqua ammonia absorption system, as in figure here, in that from pH diagram, we find the enthalpy of saturated ammonia vapor at 40 degrees centigrade means at condenser will be given as 1473. Enthalpy of saturated ammonia liquid at 40 degrees centigrade is 734 kilojoules. Temperature of ammonia vapor is at -20 degrees centigrade is equal to -1420 kilojoules per kg. The mass flow rate of ammonia in the evaporator, we know that mass flow rate of the ammonia in the evaporator is given as capacity of the refrigerating system, that is QV multiplied by 210, that is the tonnage requirement capacity of per ton, divided by H1 minus H8. H1 is the enthalpy of the saturated air, and H8 is the enthalpy of the saturated ammonia liquid at 40 degrees centigrade. So you put all these values together, you'll get mass 1 is equal to 1.2 kg per minute. The mass rate of weak and strong solution, F4 and F2. Mass rate of weak and strong solution consider the overall mass balance of H3 in the absorber as in figure A here, means the M1 plus M2 will be equal M1 plus M4 is equal to M2. M1 is here, mass flow rate is here, M4, the M2 is the strong solution going out, and M4 is the amount of heat that supposed to refer. Consider the natural balance of NH3 in the conserver, then we'll have M1 X1, M1 multiplied by the mass multiplied by your Rayleigh fraction, M4 X4, M2 X2, dot M1 plus M4 into X2. Or M1 multiplied by X1 minus X2, M4 multiplied by X2 minus X4. So 2 into 1 minus 3.8, 0.38 is equal to M4, 0.32 minus 1 is equal to 0.22 M4. M4 is equal to 5.636 equal to kg per minute. And M2, M1 plus M4, 2 plus 5.636 plus 2 equal to 7.3636. Heat rejection in chamber, absorber and condenser, QA, MH1 plus MH4 minus M2 H2. M1 into H1, M4 into H4, and M2 into H2. You put the respective values and you will get QA, heat absorbed rejected to the atmosphere is by 6589. Heat rejected to the condenser, M6, amount mass of the refrigerant flow, and changing the enthalpy to the mass flow for 470 minus 2202. Heat added to the generator, considering energy balance of the generator, heat added to the generator is mass flow rate M4H4, that is here. Generator M4 and H4. M4 M multiplied by H4, M6 multiplied by H6 minus M3 multiplied by H3. This is the generator M4. This is the weak solution M4, and this is the high pressure solution M6, and from solution to M3 is coming inside minus M3 minus M6. So put on the respective values, we'll get the heat added in the generator as 6.65. So the COP heat ejected heat absorbed divided by heat generator 10 into 220. 10 is the capacity of the storage of storage capacity multiplied by 210 per kg of heat required per kg of steam divided by heat required. The system is equal to 65. That is equal to 0.3137. This is the answer. Let us stop our work. More or less, the time is over.